here, guys. Let me just get this live on our stream. Actually, I'm surprised. Quite a few people here.
Hey, can I
didn't
ask you a
figure we'd get
question while you
anyone.
start?
Sure.
What's the
Shoot.
Fireflies thing you keep using?
It's a note taker. So it lets me know about everything that I say on a call. So it gives me my tasks and everything else that come from it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, good way of using AI. All right, guys. So let's get to business here. We're going to be talking today about a topic near and dear to my heart. It's follow-up. So let's, one sec. Let's get right into this bad boy. You guys see my screen okay?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to be talking about follow-up today, guys, and why you could potentially be losing 80% of your leads. So just out of curiosity, before we get going here, who has a follow-up strategy? All right, who's actually following steps or having their team follow steps in their follow-up? So this is for leads. This can be for new hires. This can be, again, because the processes are the same. Who here is following a set standard or a process? Give me a one in the chat. Let's see how many of you guys this will resonate with. Not seeing too many ones.
Zero?
And then you're not following up. And this calls for you.
That's exactly
0.5.
right.
All right.
I'm 0.5 too.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so let's talk about some myths that occur. If they want it, they'll call back. All right, 80% of their leads never get a second call from contractors. This belief costs you jobs and revenue every week. All right, so who's had that conversation or that thought in their head? If they want it, then they'll call me back. Right, or we just get into the quoting game, the order taking game. Right? Be honest, how many of you guys are at that process or just find reasons not to follow up with your leads? All right, so let's maybe think about what this is costing us. What's the real cost of poor follow-up? Well, we have missed leads, missed revenue, wasted marketing dollars. Your competitors are following up, and then a poor follow-up actually damages your long-term reputation. Okay, so a statistic I love to use in terms of reflecting on our sales process, which includes an extensive follow-up I'll be sharing with you today, all right, is that out of my CRM, which accounts for 40% of my leads, 40% of my leads coming from my CRM are from people we never did business with. Okay, meaning they got a quote from us. We went through our sales process. We didn't win the job, but they referred us. Why do you think that is? Right? How do you think that could be possible? All right, and I'm going to tell you the dirty little secret today, and how we're able to outsell our competition, by 2 times and charge a higher rate. All right, so contractors who follow up within 1 hour are 7 times more likely to close the deal. The reality of it is actually 73% of homeowners decide to go with the contractor who responds first. Okay, so you want to start winning, right? Speed the lead. But there's another part to this, and it doesn't get talked about enough. All right. So why do leads slip through the cracks? First of all, no systems for tracking leads. Chaos. All right. So we're not keeping count. We're not keeping score. We don't realize how many jobs we've actually lost. All right. Relying on memory and sticky notes. Leads lost opportunities. Right. 63% of contractors have no formal lead tracking system. Right? That's a pretty scary statistic when you're out there thinking that we're dealing with millions of dollars, right? And I often get into the conversation with you guys about I need more leads. I need more opportunities. And then when we have a look behind the scenes, it's you actually have enough leads. We're just not closing enough.
AI class if you want.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me pause everybody.
I have it open here.
All right. So what's the power of a fast follow-up? All right. So nowadays we are in the speed and convenience game. All right. If we're not providing speed and convenience to our customers, we're losing jobs before we even had a chance to quote them. All right. So speed matters. First to respond often wins the jobs. Homeowners are shopping around. Don't let them forget about you. Okay. So again, by being present, by, reaching out to them consistently, by having a process in place that keeps you top of mind is not annoying. All right. But in fact, it's actually what's going to, allow you to stand out from the competition. All right. And it's relatively easy these days. So like I was saying before, 78% of customers hire the first contractor to respond. Okay. Oops. So how many follow-ups is enough? This is another place that I get a lot of questions, and I'm going to share my own thoughts on this. But ultimately, and in our sales process as well, if we didn't close on the first call, all right, it generally takes 5 to 6 touch points before we get that conversion. All right. Now we follow up until they're dead, literally, until I see a death certificate. I'm following up, or they tell me to get lost. Okay, and I have no shame in that. I have no qualms about it. All right. So the point I'm trying to make here is we don't quit after one call or an email. That is not a follow-up. All right. That's weak at best. All right. 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups. All right. So just think about your process right now for you guys that are barely following up, right? How much opportunity was in your pipeline if you can measure that? Right? How much opportunity do you think was in your pipeline? I go into some pipelines and I see millions of dollars in opportunity. All right. And a very low conversion sales rate when we have to calculate it for our client. Okay. And what this is doing is basically, again, giving us this illusion that we have to be cheaper. Well, no, I hate to break it to you. It's not about being cheaper. It's not your price. It's not any of those things. All right. It's literally are you convenient to the client? All right. Were you fast? Did you give them speed and convenience? All right. And then were you consistent in the following up and bringing out your brand if you didn't close on that first call? All right. And these rules also apply in your commercial setting as well. All right. Again, I'm going to share some examples with you guys and how follow-up is important and how we can do it so that it's not hurting our brand or being annoying or being spammy. Okay. So what to say in your follow-ups? I get this question quite a bit. I figured we would address it right off the top. All right. You really want to be concise and you want to be thoughtful. Oftentimes we will call this funnel, but in general, we want to keep it short, friendly, and helpful. All right. So just following up with somebody being like, hey, do you want to move forward? Hey, you want to move forward? Hey, you want to move forward? That's not going to do you well. Okay. You would be wise to follow up with value. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today and what that could look like. All right. And a follow-up doesn't necessarily have to be a phone or text conversation. All right. We can actually use social media to follow up. We can do what we call a 2-step follow-up. So again, sharing some of the social media content that you've generated, tagging your customers. Okay. Those are follow-ups. Those are touch points. Okay. They're gentle. They're a non-invasive way of following up and keeping top of mind with your customer. Okay. Following up with value is, maybe there was something that you guys discussed and, an area where you could add some clarity or, possibly help them to make a sales decision. That's a great thing to do to add that value. Okay. And answering questions, right? So again, if you're there to answer all the questions and you're there providing value, all right, there's really no downside to that. Now, on the other hand, if you don't think about what you're going to say and you don't have a plan for moving that customer through and you haven't really listened to what your customer's needs are, all right, your follow-up can sound more like those calls you hang up from like Rogers or telemarketers, right? We don't want to fall into that category. All right. So a good example, Maria's Remodeling sends a tip with each follow-up and gets more replies. Okay. So a tip in making a buy decision. We have 27 questions to ask a contractor. All right. That you're considering for a metal roof. We send that out. We send that out first, and then we follow up on that if they received it. Okay. So again, we're delivering value before an ask. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how easy this is and how streamlined this can become. All right. So we want to try and keep things simple. As you know, I'm a big fan of simple. All right. And using a CRM. All right. So for you guys that don't have a CRM, I would really recommend it for anybody of any size. I mean, it is a core system that you're going to require. Even if you have to grow into it, it's still a very, very wise move. All right. But what this is going to help you to do, all right, if you could get your funnel correct, all right, is it's going to automate some of this follow-up, some of this, engagement. All right. So you can be pretty clever with how you're following up, but really what it does is it allows you to be consistent. All right. But there's an alternative to this. Again, we don't have to get into big, complicated CRMs if we don't want to. All right. Simple thing. We can put an alert on our calendar. Right. So I hope that everybody that's here today values their time and is planning their time accordingly and has a schedule. All right. Has a calendar. All right. When we have a project, put those alerts right into your calendar. I did it for years and it worked great. All right. Just a quick nudge for me to follow up with a particular customer. Okay. And the reality is, again, contractors using CRMs close 29% more deals. Okay. And that's just the statistics, right? So for you guys that are on the fence about CRMs and automations and stuff like that, I totally get it. All right. We all want a little bit things more simple, but these kind of things, they really do pay. Right. And it gets you back your time. Okay. So obviously in implementing anything, all right, it's a form of change. And with any sort of change, there's going to be some resistance. There's going to be some pushback. All right. So we want to really talk about overcoming the follow-up roadblocks. All right. And I'm going to say right off the bat, just from personal experience, a lot of it is mindset. Okay. One of the most common ones I hear is I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be, I don't want to be high pressure. And to that, I will respond, well, then you must not like to be successful in your business either. Okay. And the reason for that is, listen, at the end of the day, everyone's busy. Okay. Everyone, it's very, very, very common for homeowners not to even remember your name after meeting you the first time. They retain about 15% of the information you share. Okay. If you had a bad sales presentation, where do you make that up? Right. Again, I encourage everybody to open their email right now. And in that email, how many contacts exist that are sending you consistent, emails, maybe us, all right, that are giving you gentle reminders. How did some of you guys even get on this call? Think about that. All right. Is that because we give up on the first time we try to contact you? No. All right. So I'm too busy. Again, this is something then, if you're that busy, then it's time for a CRM. It's time to look at automation. All right. It's time to really, focus in on what we call sales funnel. All right. Allowing you to take some of that and automate it. Now, it doesn't do it all. Again, we are still in the people to people business. So when I'm saying this, I want to be super clear. Okay. It's not okay just to set, spammy emails to people and spammy texts that, have no relevance. Okay. If you're going to use automation, it's simply to enhance the person that's, following up, right? We still want to be connecting human to human. All right. There is no substitute for a phone call. There's no substitute for, actually having a personalized follow-up and knowing what your customer's needs are. Okay. These aren't excuses either, but text and emails, they do help. Okay. And then I forgot, again, hear this all the time. So easy to forget. All right. We get caught up in other things. Maybe you're focused on production, right? Systems prevent this. So 60% of homeowners say they wish contractors followed up more, right? 60% of homeowners say they wish contractors followed up more. Now, I've also heard the same, general statistics in terms of commercial. We're bidding for commercial work, all right? And again, they have questions. Maybe the job's not going forward right away, but the company doesn't stay in touch, right? And forfeits that lead, right? Forfeits that opportunity. So what is it that top 10% of contractors do that's so different than everyone else? How are some contractors just able to get so much more work, and make it look so easy? All right. So top 10% of contractors follow up at least 5 times. Okay. At least 5 times. And again, in our follow-up system, we follow up indefinitely. All right. Just to share a quick story with you, we closed a deal about 3.5 weeks ago from a job from 3 years ago. Okay. And we had been following up for 3 years on that project. All right. About $160,000 job. All right. Keeping top of mind, again, following up on certain events and stuff, using our social media to provide value, not being pushy, not being aggressive. All right. Nurturing that opportunity. Okay. Because 3 years ago, he didn't have the finance to run that project, but now he does. And we were top of mind, and we were the first ones that he only ones that he reached out and was like, let's move forward. Okay. Now, what most guys miss here, and the opportunity they miss, is there was no response to our text or our emails for 3 years. Okay. Most people would just give up. All right. But I had a little bit more information using a CRM that other people didn't. I knew he was opening the text, and I knew he was reading the emails, and I knew he clicked on our social media. All right. A CRM could track that behavior. And every time he did, the engagement score went up. So I knew not to give up on that. I knew not to give up on that lead, right? Or our team did, rather. Okay. So I also want you to remember, like, guys, how many of you guys have text messages in your phone right now that you have not responded to? Okay. How many of you got emails that you don't respond to? All right. That is, again, that's a very common behavior these days. All right. Now, how does a company stay in front of you? And you still may be interested in using their services at one point, but now is not the right time. Okay. As long as you are consistent and you're following up with value, and you're not presenting yourself as being pushy or aggressive, all right, you can stay in there indefinitely until they're ready to actually move forward. Okay. So huge opportunity here. Top contractors close 2 times more leads than the average. Okay. So in this top, think about that for a second. What would your business look like, all right, if you guys were closing 2 times more? All right. So if this year you closed 80 jobs, all right, we actually closed 160, doubled your revenue. What would your business look like? What would your problems be? Would it be sales? Would it be marketing anymore? All right. So guys, when we talk about these things, it's sometimes the most basic, simplest, straightforward things, we'll call it sales 101, that contractors just don't do. All right. Solve their problem when the answer is right in front of them. Okay. And it's much simpler to solve than, building an entire social media brand and marketing brand. Again, a lot of us are running ads and stuff like along those lines. All right. But not investing enough in the actual sales closing process. And therefore we're being compared just on price. Okay. So everybody that's been on our calls knows I absolutely love quick wins, and I want to leave no excuses here today for anybody to leave this call without an action plan and something they can implement quickly to see results. Okay. So here's the challenge. All right. If you can work it out so that you respond to every lead within 1 hour, all right, or sooner, okay, 1 hour or sooner, I want you all to assess your current sales process. Are you responding within an hour of a request being made, no matter who they are? Okay. I want you to schedule 5 follow-ups for each lead. Okay. So 5 follow-ups, 5 touch points after you've had a lead with anybody. And again, no excuses here. You can make this simple. All right. This can be an automated thing. This can be a reminder. All right. No real issue for anybody. You managed to find yourself to the call today, so you're technically sound in doing this. All right. And try to use a template for every message. The reason I suggest using a template, all right, meaning is you want to start to look at which follow-ups actually convert best. All right. So we should be looking to improve every time we run this process. All right. And we want to personalize them as much as possible. And only you know your brand and your offer the most and the most intimately. All right. But we really want to think about how we templatize this. Okay. Because now we're on the road and the path to actually creating a full-scale follow-up system that can operate without you. Okay. So contractors who do these 3 things will close 60% more jobs. Okay. Yeah. Is anybody confused by this? Is there anybody here that doesn't think they can handle this? Maybe you can't handle 60% more deals, right? We have a whole other problem now. We gotta fix our production issues. Sorry, just a second. Right? Who here, out of curiosity, and again, guys, we're here to have a conversation, and I hope that you guys take a part in this. But give me a 1 in the chat if you could benefit from closing 60% more leads. Give me a 1 in the chat. Let me know you guys are out there. Give me a 1 in the chat. If 60% more of your business could be closed next year, what would that look like for your business? Right? There you go. Of course, right? So again, when we think about the follow-up, we also want to think about it in a sense is a lot of times, all right, especially if you're doing certain types of marketing, all right, you may get a customer that is, in the early stages of researching, all right, and they reached out to you to get a price, to get a budget so that they could plan for the future. How many of you guys have ran into that situation? They're not planning to do the job this year. They just want to get a ballpark. They want to get, like, again, most guys, most contractors make the mistake of either not responding to that, all right, or not staying in touch with them, which I feel is the biggest fail. You did all the work, you did the quote, you did everything, but you forgot the one last thing. You never followed up with them, all right? You weren't consistent with it, all right? And again, maybe they're doing a job in a year, all right? Cool, you've got that information. Why can't you set a reminder, all right? Ever so often, send a little piece of information or, tag them on a social media post. This isn't tough, right? This is not hard stuff. And think about it. Now we're actually closing 60% of more of our leads, right?
Are you taking questions right now or no?
Not yet. Shortly. Well, let me get through this next slide here. So let's talk about a real world example of chaos to consistency, right? So a contractor in Dallas went 10% to a 40% close rate by following up 5 times. And I'll add a little caveat to that. It was actually more than 5 times. All right. But we had an automated 5-point touch. Okay. And at that point, then they were put into either a nurturing funnel for everybody that wants to know what that is. That's where it's a non-intense CTA. So we're not directly asking them if they're moving forward with their project anymore. We're trying to build value, build, more information, realizing that they're going to make a decision, at a later date, 90 or 120 days down the road. Okay. So we want to try and exist inside their email box, inside their text message, and it becomes a lot more gentler. But 5 times was the minimum. All right. And boom, voila, we closed 40% higher. Now, I'll give you another little trick with this. We used video. We used video actually very well in this follow-up. All right. Something that I encourage anybody who's brave enough to consider. All right. Again, remembering we're in the people-to-people business, keep it short, 25, 30-second videos will go a long way, all right, in your follow-up, all right? Again, building trust, getting them to remember who you are, all right? Nowadays, people have a very short attention span, so between short text, short videos, all right, you can do a very effective follow-up that's going to be memorable for that customer when they're getting ready to convert, all right? We use simple scripts and calendar reminders. All right. Revenue jumped from 150K over 150K in 6 months. Okay. So I heard we had some questions. I'll go ahead and answer those now. What was your question?
First question is time frame. Like, are you doing it? Yep. Are you following up like every 3 days? Are you following up day to day? Or
so that's a great question. And at the end of this, I'm actually going to give you a funnel and a script to follow. But there is a unique formula for it that I'll be sharing here at the end. All right. So the exact sequence that you want to follow up on. And again, it's something I've tested thousands and thousands of times and I know it to be effective across just about every market. Okay. So I'll share that with you shortly.
Got one more if I can real quick.
Yeah.
let's say you lost the lead in your, in your pile of leads or whatever, and
Mhm.
it just kind of got past you or something, or uh while you're busy, you forgot something. Do you follow up with a customer a week, 2 weeks later still, or do you just let it go because then you look a little pathetic?
Hell no. We never let it go. Okay. So if you lost the lead, lost sales survey. Okay. You want to understand why you lost that lead, if you in fact have lost it, and then you still don't stop there. Okay. So let me give you a good example.
Well,
I'm
not
glad you
not
brought
like
it up.
lost. I mean, like you never approached them or you never sent the first email. You know what I'm saying? Do you still try
Oh,
to
you
go after it?
never. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're in sales, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's what I
yeah,
meant.
there's never. Yeah. Again, we of course 100% you're going to go after that. 100%. Okay. So, and then let's use the example, guys, and it's getting a little bit off course here, but let's use the example of the customers you didn't win the job from. So, you know how earlier I shared with you that 40% of our leads we get from people we never did business with? All right. So, how many of you guys, when you lose a job, all right, are emotionally hurt by that and just think all of a sudden we can't be friends? Who's had that thought? Well, fuck him then.
Every now and then.
Uh, yeah, don't lie to me. I know that response. Okay. Now, guys, if you start to remove yourself from the outcome, you're going to realize that people are people, dude. Everybody has their own ways and make decisions. All right. They may not have made the right decision. All right. And there's no reason not to stay in touch with them if they allow you. All right. If it makes sense. All right. And I want to share with you kind of how this pays off for my own company personally. Okay. So every year we know that we're going to lose, a pile of jobs. We can't win them all. All right. But we also know that our competitors, they don't thoroughly go through jobs the way they're supposed to, and they leave things behind like aluminum troughs and gutters and east troughs and the mother's house and the aunt's house and all of these other opportunities that are there. Okay, and we run a very strategic campaign from November to December for snow guards. Okay, snow guards is a 50% margin product for us. It's easy in and out. We're talking 25 $30,000 days for a two-man crew. All right. We love them. We can smash them out really quickly. We also know that they're neglected. People don't put them into their price. So we run a campaign back to customers we already lost the jobs for. We know they got their roof done by someone else. All right. And now we're simply offering all the services that weren't included in their original contract. All right. We did $725,000 in sales from that campaign alone this year. All right. So is a lead really lost? Okay. Here's another example. I have customers that we never did business with, okay, that have referred us over 10 times. All right. Over 10 times. I've got people that referred us from a quote we did 10 years ago, and they refer us to this day. Do you know why? You know what the difference is there? The only difference is we stayed in touch. We kept them on our mailing list. We kept, they kept opening them. Obviously, at the certain points, it was convenient. We made it beneficial to them. All right. Again, for you guys out there that want to really up that game, you incentivize the referral. All right. Put that incentive right in their face right from day one, and you're going to see people take action. All right. But we don't even offer that. Right. So right in my proposal, I have a referral offer. Hey, you got your aunts, your uncles, your nieces, your neighbors, right? Want to save money on your job? Cool. Let's make this a group thing. How many people on your street do you think could use our services? Okay. So it's always easier to sell to many than to sell to one. All right. So what's this got to do with follow-up? It's got everything to do with follow-up. Follow-up doesn't just stop at the word no, just like your sales shouldn't. All right. Just because you got one no doesn't mean, we can't be friends. We can't stay in touch. All right. Doesn't mean that they're not going to have another chance or an opportunity. All right. But if you choose to give up at that point, you are actually the loser. And I don't mean that, personally, I mean that literally. Right? You have everything to gain, right? And nothing to lose. All right. If you stop at that point, you're only losing. All right. You paid for the lead, you generated the lead. And again, you have to get creative. This is how you build offers and stuff around it. And again, using CRMs and stuff, this can be implemented really easy. Okay. So do you follow up more than once with every lead? What's the biggest follow-up challenge that you guys are having? So again, love to have a conversation with you guys. Anybody out there that wants to unmute themselves or drop a question in the chat. All right. What do you guys find is a block for you in following up consistently? Right.
People blowing you off.
Okay. So why does that matter? See, again,
It doesn't matter. It's just hard to approach them.
Is it? All right. How many of you guys ignored some text on your phone today? How many of you guys are like, you need to do something? All right. How many of you guys are ignoring our text right now and have done it for months? All right. Our emails. Did we give up on you? No, we're not going to give up. Again, we're going to lead with value. We're going to continue to, share our brand, but that's follow up. All right. So again, I feel that I owe it to anybody that's engaged with us and asked for help at one point or another to continue to follow up until the time is convenient for them. All right. And I hold nothing back about it. All right. Some may say it's annoying. Some may say this, but like it works. All right. The reality of it is it works. It's effective. And for the right person and your type of customer, all right, it gives you more and more opportunities. And again, just because they didn't respond, just because they didn't, immediately return your call, doesn't mean the deal is dead. Okay. Again, CRMs do help you in this insight because when they're opening the text, when they're opening the emails, they're reading it. Okay. Maybe it's not convenient time at that time. Cool. All right. You know what else a CRM can do? Figure out when they open their emails and texts at what time and then send them at the right time. Okay. Timing has a lot to do with these kind of things, guys. And again, if you want to play the game at a high level, all right, figure out when your customer most often reads text and goes through and reviews. And you're going to find most decision makers are actually reviewing these things after 7 o'clock at night, all right? 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, when they're researching you, when the quote leads are coming in, all right? So is it wise for you to be messaging them, at 12:30 in the afternoon when they're at work? Probably not, right? But you wouldn't have those insights unless you're using a CRM, unless you understand that behavior. And just again, maybe your customer's busy and you're calling them while they're at work. That's not a good move, right? You're not going to ever get a response. All right. You're doing it out of your convenience, not their convenience. Okay. Any other questions, guys, here? I feel like I'm doing all the talking now.
Do you put this into time blocking or do you automate most of it, if not all of it? At what point should I be considering the human touch versus the AI touch? Because for me personally, I struggle because of the variety of tasks that I'm responsible for.
100%. So again, I believe phone calls for the first 5 is necessary, like those personalized touches, but you can time those out with a task, right? Your emails and texts can be automated, right? And we can also use AI in getting that conversation to a phone call. All right. So that's one of my more preferred methods is like, again, reaching out to them saying, hey, I know you're busy, don't want to bother you. Is there a convenient time that we could have a quick chat? All right. So like I said, we can have them being pushed to a schedule. We can have them being booked into your calendar. I've got 2 booked for 5 o'clock and 5:30 tonight, right? Just came through my follow-up. So again, it can be simple. It can be, more complicated, but ultimately we still want to close people to people. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. So data resources here. Again, pick a resource and use it, this week. So again, we could talk about, other things that you can use to back up what we're having the conversation about today. All right. I'm sure most of you guys are going to research some of this. I'm going to share with you our roadmap for automation and stuff like that. All right. But we can read a book. All right. A good book, Conversion Code by Chris Smith. There's actually a great podcast on the Contractor Growth Network, which I don't normally recommend my competitors, but I will in this situation. It was a great podcast. So nonetheless, and then the 5 follow-up templates for contractors on Service Titan. So for anybody that's using Service Titan, those are great resources. Okay. So before we get into the funnel side of it, and I'm going to share it with everybody that's still on our call here, and hopefully give you guys some high quality information that you can use. All right. anybody that's looking to get help with this, anybody that's interested in a CRM or anything along those lines, I'd love to help you out, at least get you a game plan. As you know, Contractor AI, we help set up these systems. We help to, implement them and help your sales team to grow. All right. What's best is if you're interested, I'm going to throw my link in the chat. All right. Book a call with us, book a game plan call with us. Love to, at least point you in the right direction. If we can help you, great. All right. But, we're always a source of information first and trying to get these systems in place. So I'm going to pull my screen down here. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to share. Okay. So I get the question probably the most often is what is the consistency look like for, oh, you guys see my screen okay? Yeah? Good? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about something a little bit more advanced, all right? But we're going to talk about what a sales funnel looks like and, what we're running and what we found to be the best, most consistent way. All right. So let's talk first of all about some bells and whistles and some shiny objects, just to keep everybody engaged and interested in this. So the apps we can use, all right. Facebook Messenger, again, not utilized enough by contractors. I swear, especially if you're advertising there, that's where your customers are. All right. So we can use Facebook Messenger. We can also use WhatsApp. Okay, so WhatsApp's can be effective in some markets, okay, and gives you another touch point. Most people are more comfortable responding in WhatsApp or Messenger than they are over text, okay? So again, you can automate a lot of these touch points too. Again, these are areas where you can get some some improvements on your follow-up. All right. The one-click SMS, all right, one-click SMS is an ability to book a call instantly, okay? So when you're sending out your text messages, all right, it should be linked to a calendar, all right? So again, when we automate follow-up now, they're booking into a 15-minute discussion with you, all right? They got your phone number. Many of you guys have been on Zoom calls and stuff like that. You can set that all up in an automated process through a CRM. Relatively easy these days, okay? It's going to save you a world of time. It's going to take, and add that speed and convenience element to your customer's experience. All right. And it's just smart. All right. The other thing we could do is segmenting lists. Okay. So like I was explaining to you before, and I'm going to just try and keep this really simple. All right. Is that there is everybody has people in their sales funnel, again, that been unresponsive. Maybe you followed up once or twice and you never got a hold of them. So you quit. Okay. That's wrong. We shouldn't do that. Now, what we can do is we can get very, very strategic about it and start to understand what their behavior is, okay? So like I said before, with a CRM, you could see when they opened it, what they were engaged with. We segment our list based on the content that they view, right? So those hook lines in our emails, right? Like you guys were brought in on a hook line, right? Saying, hey, anybody interested about follow-up? Okay, obviously that got some attention. That was something you were interested in. That's why you're here. All right. Now think about it in your own customer experience. All right. Now all that can be segmented, meaning that I can put people into that group knowing that, hey, these guys are really interested in follow-up. So maybe I'm going to follow up with some resources. Maybe I'm going to follow up with a free tool or something that will help you to get to your destination a little quicker. Right. I've provided value. All right. I'm no longer a stranger. All right. I'm doing my job. Okay. You can do the same thing within your business. All right. So it doesn't have to be pushy. It doesn't have to be salesy. All right. And it can help to build your brand and long-term. All right. Companies that do this statistically will outgrow and outpace their markets. Okay. Just, it's a no-brainer. Okay. Live chat notifications. So you can get people into a live chat. All right. Again, CRMs give you that ability to, reignite conversations. Of course, we have AI bots now. All right. Again, being Contractor AI, I will always support the AI features. But I will say this, all right, there are companies out there that are doing this distastefully, all right? My opinion is the AI is there to provide convenience to your customer, all right? I've yet to see or anyone prove to me that AI is capable of selling your job, or should it be, misrepresenting you? Okay. So I want to say that again, just so everyone's clear, because there's a lot of misinformation out there about what AI bots can do. All right. The reality of it is it can do a very limited amount of things, and it should be based on your customer's convenience. So booking schedules, adding, FAQ questions, stuff like that, perfectly fine. Okay. What you should not be doing, or having anybody sell you doing, all right, is having an AI try and sell your job. Okay. That is not true. It's false. We've yet to see a single example of that being the case. All right. In a low ticket offer, which I don't imagine anyone here is selling a low ticket offer. All right. That might fly. There might be some examples of it, but in a contracting business, we are still in the people to people business. I'll continue to say it, where AI gives you an unfair advantage, is allowing you to do all of these small administrative tasks, the 80% of sales activity, all right, that is required, all right, to actually close a deal. All right. So it's connecting you with your customer quicker. All right. So that's how we should be using those. All right. If we want to get on a call dialer, the best way, a lot of people make excuses. Oh, I don't want to call my customers back. It's slow. It takes time. We take that away. We have a power dialer that just allows you to hit go, and you're going to call through your whole client list on a particular schedule I'm going to share with you shortly. All right. So no excuses. If you have an appointment setter, same thing. You can track, how many, calls have been placed, how many have been held. You can record, you can train. All right. So again, I'm getting a little bit more advanced, but power dialers are a good thing for anyone doing high volume leads. All right. So then we get to the call pipeline. Again, how many times should you be calling? All right. I'm going to say in your first 30 days, you're going to make 10 phone calls. Okay. A minimum of 10 phone calls. All right. Before they go to a nurture list. And that's in the first 30 days. The first 30 days are your most important direct contact days. And then even after that, you'll see in our nurturing sequence, we're still going to periodically reach out to them by phone. Again, the highest response, the highest actions are going to come from phone still, hands down. That's still the, the most working, optimized thing. Okay. So then in terms of your follow-up and your day structure, okay, we want to follow up with emails day 1, day 3, day 5, day 14, day 26, day 32, and day 35. Okay. And then we're going to transition into what we call a long-term nurture. So if they haven't responded there, all right, we then move them into a nurturing sequence. Okay. A nurturing sequence, again, guys, it's as it sounds. All right. We're going to deliver value. We're not going to be as pushy. We're not going to be as aggressive. All right. And we're going to take maybe a longer term approach, still adding in some calls. All right. Anybody unclear about what I'm suggesting here or saying? Anybody want some more clarity on this? So I've given the whole schedule of pipeline, right? When you should call or text. All right. And again, tested it. All right. Some days you're going to text. So day 3, we're going to send a follow-up email and text. Day 5, we're going to follow up, call, and text. Okay. For those of you guys that aren't aware of this system, it's a well-known system. It's called the 3-box method. Okay. So when we call, email, text, right, 3-box method, all right, we get the highest response rates. And this has been tested across call centers and everything else, but that's going to give you your most effective opportunity to get in touch with your customer, right? So you can see we're not just using one or the other, we're using all of them combined. All right. Day 9, we want to just follow up with an email. Day 14, follow up, call, text, same method. Okay. By day 35, I'm going to send a lost sales survey in case we've lost that sale. All right. I'm going to encourage them to give me some feedback. It's kind of funny. Most of the time when we're in this follow-up, that's when we actually get a lot of jobs pushing through, and as well as our day 26. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share this with you, and then there's your nurture sequence as well. Okay. So again, once we've gone through that first 30-day cycle, she rolls around, and then we go into a nurturing campaign. So you can see there's calls. They're just a lot less frequent. They can be put on a scheduler. All right. So if you're going to use an auto dialer or anything like that, That way, you know, you or your team has actually made those phone calls. All right. And then we're using email and text. Usually we'll follow a theme that's to do with your company's brand. Again, you know, think of social media, but through email and text. Okay. Any questions? Anybody have any questions on what I'm sharing with you?
Where at in
Yeah.
can I find that?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're actually a
Rodney
client.
Jr.
So you're a customer of ours, Sean. So
Well,
like you literally don't
my
have to
wife
do
called
any of
him
that.
Rodney Jr.
Yeah.
No, just teasing.
But why do you?
Right. So for you, we're actually just doing this for you. Right. So like we complete it all for you.
Yeah, everybody, you should join so you don't have to do all that. We'll do it for you.
Right. So
As soon as we get some money up, we are.
Good deal.
right. So again, that's the service that we are here. We're a done for you consultant. We just fix the problem, right? But not to stop you. I love to share information. Anybody, God bless you, that's trying to do it on your own or again needs that information. I'm happy to share it with you. So let me throw it in the chat here, guys. And I'll give you the whole process. If you can follow it, all right, implement it into your CRM. Oh, hold on a sec. I gotta get a link for that. 1 second, guys. Okay. There we go. All right, I'll drop this in the chat for everyone. Again, anybody that's curious or wants to, you know, tackle these things, that's a pretty tried, tested, true method for building out your sales funnel. Okay, so again, guys, any questions around sales, around what type of follow-up? Love to, you know, have a conversation with you. Anybody wants to ask a question? Now's your time. Just feel free, unmute yourself or throw it in the chat box here. I'm an open book for you.
Great info today. I'm gonna pop out. Just want to say thanks for all the support you give our business. We've been winning every time. So
Yeah,
I love coming to
appreciate
these
you.
learning moments. So we'll see you after the holidays. Have a happy Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thank you for these meetings, Jay. They're really informative, and we realize a lot of changes we have to make. And like I said, when we start making it a little more, we're gonna be signing up with you. I'm sure.
Yeah,
We got to make it
no
first.
problem, man. We gotta take the small wins, right? So like I said, leaving this call today, I completely get it, right? I was like starting out my business too at one point, right? And these are the things I wish people had told me. So don't allow yourself to give yourself excuses why you shouldn't be following up, right? Like you've got leads in your pipeline right now. I want you to take action, right? Because action is what's going to get you to the next level, right?
Okay, so here's a good question. I lost a lead the other day.
Yeah.
It was a good one. It was about a $30,000 job.
Okay.
They said they already went with somebody else. Should I follow up?
Mhm.
Well, like, what do you say though? Do you ask like, how's the project going, or like?
Okay. So again, if they already went with someone else, first thing we're going to do is assess, were we responsive and fast enough in getting them a quote? All right. So I like to lead with a lost sales survey. The reason I'll lead with a lost sales survey is it reduces that awkwardness and the sales resistance. All right. So again, if you spent time with them and you've gone through the process of selling, all right, most people will happily share with why they went with somebody else. And then from there, we're going to ask, hey, do you mind if I stay in touch? do you mind if, if I, send you out, some offers once in a while that maybe down the road you may need our services? Can I stay in touch? All right. By
Okay.
getting that permission, all right, and planting that seed, again, maybe they're getting a bathroom done. All right, cool. Next year, they're going to get a kitchen. The year after that, they're going to get their backyard renovated. Like, you got to understand, like, just because they went with someone else, there could be all types of reasons. Figure out what that reason was so you can improve your sales process. All right. Most of the time, you're going to find, though, is that, and I imagine that you probably run into this more often than you realize, but you weren't first there. You let the lead go too long. Right? Therefore, somebody already came, sold it. All right. And I always like to use this. So I want you to think about this as well. Right? A lot of times when my competitors are showing up to give quotes, we've already started the roof. My guys are already there. We're already parading around the neighborhood and putting up banners and we have our signs up around town. Is that you? Are you that guy? If you're not that guy, then that's your goal. All right. That's your target. Understand, people want an Amazon-like experience these days, right? If your business is not providing an Amazon-like experience, all right, speed and convenience, all right, you're going to fall behind. That's the reality, right? So again, take action, focus on the speed to lead, all right? Figure out why you lost your sales, all right? That will give you enough information there to make improvements that matter. Does that make sense? And then
Yes.
make sure that you stay friends. All right. Just because you lost a deal doesn't mean they're dead. A contact is a contact and it's worth something. All right. It's high value.
What if you lost a lead to price?
Okay. So again, worth a conversation. All right. If you lost it to price.
Can I step in for a sec, Jay? I just want to testament to that bid we just won because of you.
Mm-hmm.
We bid on a really quality client and we won and we were the highest price. And we used Jay's playbook. And so we were all very surprised that we won and we won it at the highest price. Not because we don't have value in that. Of course we have the value, but they saw the value that we were doing. So like, I realize this comes across as bias, but the bias is that it works. Every time we put a play in, we win. So I really do want to encourage you as someone who's using the services and someone who is putting these plays into action, make the phone call. It's a game changer, total game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We lose the price a lot because we're in a border town and we got Mexican dudes that come over the border and they're good people. They're not bad people or anything, but they come over and they're cheaper on labor and
okay.
we lose the price a lot.
Let's break this down for a second. Okay. Does your customer go with somebody they don't trust?
I doubt it. I mean, you got to trust the person that's going to work for you.
Okay. So, are you demonstrating your value or are you going there like every other guy? Like maybe the best example I can give you. Okay. Would you ever show up to a job and go, hey, you know what? I'm going to do semi-par, mediocre at best work, and I might just steal your deposit. Depends on how I feel. Like, you don't go in there like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do my best. Like you don't go in and sell yourself that.
Right. I'm a salesman by heart. I sold furniture, cars, vacuums. I mean, door to door. Okay. So I know about the sales. We build value. One of the things we offer is transparency, like no other company offers. Okay. And quality build. Quality work. We don't cut corners.
Don't even fucking say that. Right. So right away, if you've already lost, if you are selling quality work. All right. You know why? If you go in and push, I do quality work. All right. So does every single other dude. Right. Every other contractor comes in there and says quality work. You can trust me. And here's the reality. Your customer expect what that doesn't come with. Like, that's not what I get. Like, that's not what I'm purchasing with. Like I was just pointing out, right? Like if you're not demonstrating your value. So when you said transparency, okay. I love that. That's a part of how we do it. Do you know how we demonstrate our transparency? Would you like to know how we demonstrate? And I'll give you like a perfect.
Yes, please.
Here. Okay. So before the call, before we even meet with them, all right, they get a package from us, all right, and we can call it a capability statement or a welcome package, all right. They get a welcome package. in that welcome package, they have reviews, they have, you know, jobs that we've done, case studies, like who we are, how we work. We send that out before we even meet with them. That's step one. Okay. After we've had a call with them, and here, I'll give you a prime example of this. All right. Here, no bullshit. Okay. So on Monday night or Tuesday night, I closed a $90,000 metal roof. Let's see if I can find it here. Now I'm just shooting into my email box.
And while you're searching that up, your package
Yeah.
you send out, everything is digital. So you're just sending out some digitally.
Yeah.
And how do you compare that to bringing marketing collateral with you to the job and giving it to them when you see them?
Great thing. So our proposals are also like real proposals. They're not estimates. Okay. So they continue on with that sales package. Okay. All right. So to answer your question directly, like our material then is like, we have the next stage. So like our proposal package, and I mean, I could show you our proposals and stuff, but they're very detailed. All right. They're meant to be a sales tool. So that's what we're bringing with us to the table. But then it's the small touches. Like I had this call. Okay. Right. You guys can see, no bullshit. Tuesday, 12:04, sent them the message. All right. What am I doing? I'm giving him, demonstrating my value. Okay. I'm directly showing him jobs in his immediate 2-kilometer radius that we did. All right. I'm giving him a video link to a testimonial from our customer. Right. And I'm thanking him for his time. All right. Did he have to ask me for references? All right. And then you'll notice in my sales proposition, like, again, it's about standing out from everybody else. All right. A lot of guys go in with the intention of selling somebody their services. All right. We have to stop that. Like we're no longer in that pitch kind of sales methods anymore. All right. Those days are gone. All right. People in general, like we're in the post-trust era. All right. No one trusts anybody. Okay. And you better believe that's a real thing. All right. So when I'm saying demonstrating your value, I mean getting all of these things out before they need to ask you. All right. You say transparency. How do you have transparency? Here, let me show you, not tell you, because whatever comes out of my mouth is bullshit. All right. What I can show and what I can prove, and the answers you're giving in your own head, that's the truth.
Well, yeah,
Okay?
that's what we do. I mean, I do that in sales. I show them like through transparency is we have a full client dashboard where they can see everything that their project manager sees on the project.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But again, you know, in having that, you have to understand, is that really the core problem? So like if you're in a middle-class market, all right, number one is knowing your customer base, right? A customer who's buying $200,000-$300,000 or $100,000 from you, all right, is a very different customer than someone spending $15,000 or $20,000. And you may not recognize that. They have different needs and wants, right? Are you completely sure that transparency or what you're promoting is really resonating with that customer?
Okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times that's a marketing offer issue. Okay. So I'll give you another fine example of that. Like I think we shared our bathroom remodeling playbook with you, right? If you're dealing with a middle-class blue collar person that's super busy. I don't think
I got that, but.
Oh, okay. I thought we showed it. Anyways, reach out to us. I'll share it with you. Okay. So selling bathroom remodels. Most guys are losing the jobs because they give the customer too many decisions to make. When they should be cutting that right out the bat, getting those questions out, getting budget out of the thing before they ever meet with them. All right.
We're designing right now a bathroom design and selection guide so that we could go through all that and take all the guessing out of the game.
Today's your lucky day because we've already made one of those. All right. So when I work with bathroom clients, what I try to get them to understand is that the first question they're asking is, how much is this going to cost me? So you want transparency? Here's transparency, right? Now we put this in our ads. We get the budget question right out of the way right away. All right. Now I also know that 80% of the decisions are made by females, especially in the home. Okay.
No,
so you got your husband, right? His first question is, can I afford this? Cool. I'm presenting an offer of good, better, best. I'm giving him a resource that he can use. If you want to do your own budget, and again, out of speed and convenience, that's, you know, they got a 20 square foot thing. They can figure it out. Now, what does good and better look like, right? This is where you get to the selections. Boom. There's your selection. Here's what better looks like, right? This is the type of tile you can get. Like, again, you're making it simple and you're informing your customer, all right, right off the bat. Right? What's good look like? Well, there's your American Standard toilet, right? Like that's what the good's going to be in that price range. Okay. So now when you're meeting with that person, are you meeting to discuss the budget anymore?
No, you're not.
No. Right. And now correct me if I'm wrong. Being transparent though is like being upfront with your prices, is it not?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And then giving them
We
an
even show our
area to
markups.
choose. Right. Well, I don't know if I agree with that completely, but what I would more encourage you to do and what makes it easier is you want to get them comfortable with saying yes, right? So psychologically, all right, I'm covering my spread. So if they got a quote at $4,300, all right, I've already explained to them without telling them what they're going to get for $4,300 and why they can't trust that quote.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm doing better because I know that 80% of people will go with better. 80% of people. All right. Nobody wants just the good. Nobody wants the best. And ask me how I know. I've told tens of millions of dollars myself personally. All right. I've helped all my clients use this system. All right. What you're doing is demonstrating value. All right.
That's
I
amazing.
want a package. I want it done good, better, best. All right. And now I'm covering my spread. All right. So it makes it much easier for someone to go ahead and they're not overwhelmed by decision making. They see you as a trusted resource. They see you as a consultant, right? Versus a sleazy salesperson. Now a sleazy salesperson is going to go in there and pitch them, right? Another whole conversation, whole training all on its own, all right? We need to ditch the pitch. We're in 2025. Nobody wants to be sold to. Okay?
Okay.
If you don't get it, right? So when we ditch our pitch and we make it about our customer and what they want and we bring out all those needs and there's a process to it, all right? It's not pushy, all right? But you got to get them to sell themselves these days. You got to get them to be so sure of what it is that they want to get, all right? You got to make that process smooth. You got to make it, like you said, transparent. Like how much more transparent can I be? All right, but I haven't said a single word yet.
Yeah, this is transparency at its finest.
Right, but
although I don't think anybody's ever had a powder room built here in El Paso.
Okay. So, but again, do they know what 60 square feet looks like? Do they know what 120? Like these are the kind of things because a lot of people are in that research mode, right? They don't know if they can afford it yet. You're answering that first question, all right? And you're saving them time in answering that question. So think value, right? Upfront value. All right.
Now, is there any chance you give me a copy of this?
Yeah. Yeah,
really?
No problem. Yeah, no problem.
Oh, man.
Jay's literally.
It's got to make sure.
Yeah, he definitely is. There's no doubt about it. Nobody's doing it like him.
Okay. Yeah, this is just information, man. Happy to share it. Let me throw it in the chat. I'll throw it in for everybody.
Jay, I've never been more happy to stop and ask
you
questions.
There you go. The solutions to your problem, right? So, and again, think about your sales process when you're doing those things, how you now have built trust and transparency without telling somebody, you can trust me and I'm transparent. That doesn't work anymore. Anything that comes out of your mouth, I want you to just keep this in the back of your head. All right. Being in the post-trust era, being in the trust has never been as low as it is right now in history. Okay. Nobody trusts anybody. All right. You have to demonstrate that you're trustable nowadays. You have to go further than the other guy's going to go and showing them that, you've got their best interest in mind. And then, again, when you get to those sales calls, when you have the opportunity, all right, the one who says the least wins. Right? Contrary to what we believe. Right? Ask more questions. I have a sales process. I don't make it about me. I make it about them. Right? Does this make sense?
Yes. No, definitely does. Definitely does. I'm trying to screenshot this because I don't think I can actually download it. It just pulled it up as a PDF inside the.
No, it's a PDF. Just download your PDF. Or you throw your email in. We'll email it to you.
I did. I gave you our company email up there. It's info@forgebuilds.com. It's
Yeah.
right after you
Okay.
threw that last link
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
because
we
you
got
guys
it.
Yeah,
got
well,
a
We got it,
personal.
Jacob. We will shoot you that. No problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That is gonna revolutionize our game for reals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great tool, great method, right? So especially if you can position it earlier in the sales process, right? Because it weeds out your tire kickers and like they already know if they can work with you or not, right? And that just saves time.
You're good. An insane
Right.
amount of time. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions, guys? Did I miss any in here? Are these prices including labor profit margins, assuming it is? Yeah, and so just to give you context to that particular one, you're giving ballpark like the same way you would over the phone, right? So like in no way does that bind you to a price. It's a guide, right? It's a national average. Okay. We found it's pretty accurate. We update it all the time. And they can go through. What you're doing is giving them the structure of what you would be pricing with, right? So if they want to do their own research, great, right?
Can I ask you,
So in that process,
are you guys like
yeah,
on point with America about how much a bathroom costs? Are you guys kind of the same ballpark or? Yeah.
pretty good.
Okay.
That one's from Nashville, Tennessee. So I think so.
Okay.
Right. And I got clients that are fully using those prices and winning. So again, yeah, we put a lot of effort and time into making sure that it's in the ballpark. But again, if you're following up with this, your offer is going to matter more as well, right? So when you get in front of them, it's never going to be, one or the other. It's going to be, what they actually want to get out of that, right? And then again, you got to think about how convenient your offer is. So we follow through with good, better, best. All right. But they're making selections. You're giving menu pricing, especially on bathrooms. All right. And we're controlling the options that they have to pick from. All right. Otherwise, it just becomes a back and forth and you lose customers that way too, especially in smaller renovations. I learned this from roofing, right?
Yeah, I think here in California, that'll help greatly. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. They're giving no one excuses here not to take action today.
I keep hearing Jacob say about a border town and a border town. I'm not. Sounds like a lot of distrust. So I don't know if a program like the Good Contractors list or directory, where they give them a down payment and they're already protected, would be a good thing to build trust. It works really good for me, especially in the roofing industry.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
A down payment and being protected? What do you mean?
So there's certain, and Google's actually still got a program too. So like if you want to be Google guaranteed, they guarantee like that you won't run off with deposits and stuff. And then there's other directories that you can get as it, because like just listening to what you're saying, Jacob, like I know that you're not building enough trust with your customer right off the bat, and your marketing is got to be off, because if you're only bringing in those lower lower end customers, like again, you can dress up a pig all you want. I mean, it's still a pig, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're not getting to the customer who can afford you, all right, that's a messaging and an offer problem. Okay. And
we
again,
don't really
you can
have
try
any
and
offers necessarily yet. We just broadcast our work on social media. I'm researching and doing everything with that. We realized with these last few meetings with you that we need to change our whole game, and that's what we're doing right now.
Well, that's what's going to put you in the top 10% of the elite, right? So like again, like we talked about offer on our last call and how important it is, because like again, if you're trying to market, you can't just market your services. Like everybody and their uncle, including the Mexican across the border, can do it, right? They're offering their services. You can't do that, right? So if you want to be a legitimate business, you solve a specific problem for a specific person a specific way. Bottom line, if you can't do that, all right, all of your marketing is going to fail. All of your advertising is going to fail. All right, because you're not differentiating yourself. You're not standing out from the seas and seas of people trying to do the same thing you are, right? And that's where most contractors just don't get it. Like it's the small touches, like what I'm sharing with you. All right, that would probably change your whole world if you got just these things that we talked about today implemented. All right, that would change your whole perspective on whether my customer can afford it or not. All right, and I'll give you a funny little example of this. All right, so how many of you guys have had a call with somebody, didn't really have a great connection with them, and wrote them off as being a tire kicker?
Done it. Yeah.
Okay. Right? They didn't bother going to see them. Oh, they must be a tire kicker. Okay, so we ran a little experiment. Actually, we have a cool tool that that we bring in with our contractors now. And again, on the same theme of speed and convenience. Everybody here is on Zoom, so you know how it works. There's a software that we connect with Contractor AI that basically they get sent an instant link. Okay, what it allows us to do is turn their phone into an AI estimating thing. So we can do the scope, the work, like we could see everything they want, and they walk us through their project and explain to us what they want, basically like in a phone call with their camera on. Okay, really fast, convenient. Most people are like totally into it. Even elderly are able to use it because it just comes through a link on their phone. Okay, and what we found, all right, is we had some contractors, and the best example I can share with you, I have a contractor that he does full kitchen, high-end kitchen renovations. Okay, biggest problem is he couldn't qualify enough leads. All right. I immediately, just in my ears, I knew what was going on. Like I knew the demographics and everywhere where he's marketing were on, there was something broken. What it turned out to be is that in his qualification of his clients, he wasn't really seeing the projects. All right. He was just making assumptions up front. And even in a lead scoring situation and qualifying, those can slip through. Somebody can just generally be a little bit slower or maybe not want to share like information up front. All right. When we put in this process, all right, what he was finding is that he was writing off $300,000 and $400,000 projects, all right, on the tone of their voice. All right. So why I'm bringing this up is that possible in what's going on in your situation?
Right?
No,
we never did. I always go to a project. I always do the estimate no matter what.
Okay, but you're not getting paid for that.
No, like we couldn't charge for estimates down here. That would be crazy.
Oh my God.
No, I'm saying in El
Yes,
Paso, it's because El Paso is totally different than the rest of the United States. I promise. It's crazy. Or maybe I'm wrong, and you got a lot to learn from you.
Again, I want you to ask yourself these two questions, okay? All right. And again, there's always exceptions to the rule. I'm not like my job's to get it right. It's not always to be right. Okay. So you might be very well right. All right. But ask yourself this: speed. How quick are you? How fast are you in front of your customer? Is it like an hour? Is it like 50 minutes? Is it 2 days? Like how quick are you to get in front of them?
Oh, I'm sorry, to get in front of them?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
To look at their project. So the initial intake call, like how quick is it?
The initial, it could be 5 hours, maybe a day.
Okay. Too slow. Too slow.
But
right?
we take the first appointment they give us. As soon as the customer says, I'm available Tuesday at this time, we go out there and do it.
Inconvenient. Too slow. Inconvenient. I'm telling you the formula right now. So
how do you press
right
them
there,
for a quicker time to get out there?
You offer them an instant quote. I just showed you.
Okay. Like, yeah.
Now they jump on they get a link right there and then. All right. With this thing where you can walk through that project and decide, hey, is this project a fit for us? All right. You give them their ballpark. All right. If they want to move forward to the next stage, you sell the design agreement. Simple as that.
Design agreement.
Design and construction plan or a feasibility study. We can call it anything else.
Like we do free renderings for clients.
That is a bad move.
Is it really?
100%. Nobody does that. Lots of, I would say the majority of contractors are willing to do that, but they're the ones losing. And because look what you've done. You've given too much value, all right, up front, and you've now put them into a design thing where they can disagree with you. All right. You've made a critical error here. Number one, we come back to the basic. Was it fast? Was it convenient? All right. Do they trust you enough to like go to the next stage? Again, you're thinking about closing the deal. I'm thinking about just the next step. The next step for me is now that we have some trust, right? Now that we have a little bit of authority there, we've given them a good experience so far. Good customers expect things for free. Who here trusts free? Who here trusts free?
And you get what you pay for.
Right. And then is it possible that maybe you're missing some things because you have to move through those quickly and give them the free design and all that? Like you feel like you've delivered value, but you really haven't. Right?
Never thought of it like that.
Good customers, good like high-end customers, I'll tell you for a damn fact, all right? If they're making a $15,000 purchase from you, or a $25,000 or a $100,000 purchase, $500 or $200 or $150 to hire an expert is nothing, is absolutely nothing to them. And they'll do it just for the value of having that plan in place. All right. So again, speed, convenience, next step is get their skin in the game. All right. Again, because psychologically, you're actually pushing them away. All right. You're building mistrust by giving away too much up front.
Yeah, that's what my partner says too. He says we're supposed to get paid for this stuff.
Right. So
He's on
then
the
you're
call
wondering
right
why you're
now
running
also.
around giving out quotes, right?
Yeah.
Why are you running around giving out quotes to people that'll never buy from you? Right. So here's another point. Can you go and look at 15 projects today? Give them all quotes?
Probably, because we don't have a job right now at this moment because it's Christmas time.
Okay. All right. So most of the time, the answer would be no. Okay. Could you jump on a call one after the other with 15? Hell yeah.
No.
And how quickly are you going to? Oh, yeah, you could. In your office, presentation, the whole bet. Like, I mean, I know I've got like full scale sales teams that are doing this, right? That initial call, we turn that into an interactive, information session with them. They feel confident in you because of your approach and because you've given them that speed and convenience, because you've given them the answers. All right. You've left them with reassurance and you've brought them to the natural next step. The natural next step is to get paid for a proper proposal, right? Get paid for design. Why would anyone object to that? If they did object to it, good. They're not your customer. If they got a problem paying $150 for you to do work, they want your time for free. Those are the ones that you need to get rid of.
Okay.
Like that's the point I'm trying to make, right? Like those are the ones wasting your time while your A customers aren't being attended to, right? This is what I mean about the speed and convenience side, right?
It's not necessarily about price though. Like we could do like 75 instead of 150, just a price, right? Saying that we charge for what we do.
But again, go ahead and say you charge for what you do. If you want to do that, you're going to get flat ears, right? Because what does that mean?
Well, you don't say it out loud. I mean, I'm saying that tells
you demonstrate it.
Yeah. Okay.
You demonstrate value, right? You warm them up. You let them know who you are. Like there's steps to it. It's not just like I'm trying to cut out, some of the, the side, the pieces to it to make it, as simple as I can. All right. But like, if you want to stand out, I just gave you the formula, right? That'll allow you to stand up. That lowers your overhead. You haven't moved a tire. All right. You're qualifying at the highest point. You're giving your customer a good experience. You're building trust and authority. All right. You've given them a ballpark price by the end with a package of what they could select. All right. And now if they're not ready to move forward with $150 to compensate you for your time and going to the next level, all right, they weren't your customer in the first place. All right. And you've spent 20 minutes instead of hours driving around in gas and fuel and overhead and banging our head against the wall.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because gas is expensive.
Yeah, no kidding. We won't move our tires unless we're getting paid, right? I won't go to someone's home and measure their roof unless we're getting paid. All right. Now, everyone says they have a hard time asking for money to get paid for a pool. Yeah, you're right. Because if you're just like, hey, I'm Bill, I'll do great work. You can trust me. Give me $150. That doesn't work, does it?
No.
That's not so smooth, right? Now, if I demonstrate my value before they even got on a call, I made it fast and convenient for them, what they are expecting, what more and more people, like grandma's on Amazon, right? She's buying shit from Amazon right now, right? Most of your Christmas gifts probably are going to come from Amazon, right? So what do you think people's expectations are? They want it now. Why can't you give me a price now? Why can't you, again, these are the things. And like somebody with money that's ready to make a decision, they love this, right? I don't want a salesperson in my house. I don't want to take time out of my day to, go through all this. Like I want what I want now. Can I just go online and order it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that
give it
is
to
a
them.
game changer. That total game changer.
100%.
You stop giving stuff
100%.
away for free. No, I'm just playing.
That's right. There's no value, but you are lowering your status. You're lowering your status, right? At the end of the day, you're lowering your status in those situations.
I never looked at it like that. We're still kind of new to the game, And
I'll tell you, that move, like that's nobody's doing that.
okay.
Right. Because they're not like the people in the construction. All right. And I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but we do the same shit we did the exact same way 25 years ago. Right. Not much has changed. Okay. But it's starting to change. It's starting to, be differentiated. But like, again, you want to win at the game. You have to figure out ways to do things faster and more convenient.
Do you line item your estimates?
100%.
Oh, okay. All right. We do that.
Everything's built on a cost code, but I don't share it with my customer. I give them good, better, best. Here's what they're getting, right? I give them an explanation. I let my proposal do a lot of the sales, right? Eliminating. It's more about just disarming them, all right, and eliminating your competitors without directly eliminating your competitors or being, that kind of salesperson.
So you don't line item your proposal?
No. Well, I line item. Yes, all my estimates got line items in them, but I don't display them to my customer. They get a bottom line price. They get good, better, best. We explain the features and benefits of those good, better, best if we get to that far in the conversation. Most of my customers, to be honest with you, after all the work that we do to get them, they don't want a sales call with us. They just say, go ahead, sign our quotes back. Like that's how it works. Right?
Okay.
So again, like, are you offering speed and convenience? Most people are just their own worst enemy. They want to go out and hard sell people. No one wants that anymore, right? Especially millennials. Millennial down, like you want to really piss them off, go and have a 2-hour conversation around a kitchen table with them. Baby boomers, Gen Xers and stuff, yeah, like you could still do that. But anybody else, like they're fucking busy. They don't want, like they've already done their research. They know who you are, right? Everything you've given them, they've made a decision already. All right. Either you're there to just check the price of the guy they're going with, or you're the guy, right? It's one or the other. So
yeah, no, sometimes we get that.
Mm-hmm. I bet you most of the time, because like I said, the guy who responds first wins the game.
All right.
It's just numbers, man. It's just statistics, right? So
I'm gonna go through House and see about our automation stuff and what we can do to change that. You don't like House?
Again, everything I just said, why would I like House? Like you are in a crowd where someone else is like, you're buying a lead that's being sold to 6 of your competitors. How do you differentiate yourself?
Oh, we're not paying for the lead. It's the CRM software we use. They got the 3D, they got 3D scanners and
yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, no.
Gotcha.
Who would you recommend for CRM? Well, besides, you, right?
So yeah, our stack is our in-house isn't a CRM, it's a project management system. Right. So again, anything that does your quotes and estimates and stuff like that, and like is something you're using for production, is a project management system. The worst is if they're trying to be both. So a CRM is like everything from your websites, your marketing, your ads, like that's a CRM, customer service like management, everything before they get to the quote. Okay.
Yeah.
A project management system, on the other hand, and again, we're a big fan of JobTread. And if you've been around for a while, like I use it in my own business, right? I use all types of CRMs over the years and project management systems. So I know them all pretty intimately. That's my choice. It doesn't have to be yours. I mean, whatever works. All right. We're not
What was your choice?
push one or the other.
What?
I use JobTread. So I use JobTread in my own business and across like 30, 40 of our clients.
When we got housed like 3 years ago, it was price option. That's what it was. It was low price. It had everything we needed at the time.
If it works and it's doing the functions, but like as you grow,
it's obviously
your business,
not working right now.
And by the way, if it's that plugin, if it's that scanning option that really caught your interest, because it did with me when I first got it, you'll also realize that there's free plugins online, Apple Store, that do the same type of scan for blueprints that they use for their software. So you're really not getting anything from them. It's just a plugin they're using attached to their project management tool.
Any chance you could give me a name of one of the plugins you're using?
Yeah, let me check and I'll send it over to you.
Thank you.
No worries.
Wow. Right. This has been the most beneficial meeting I've had in the last 3 years.
Oh, there you go. Cool. All right, guys, I've got to wrap up. I hope everybody's got some value today and has a Merry Christmas.